So the dock, now it's called the HagGreaf. It has 3 hard specializations as every other class. The first one, Disciple of Cain, is a heal. Then we have Executioner, which is a DPS. And then we have Khanite Assassin, which is also a DPS. No support here. Heal and 2 pure DPS classes. I think the dog players will be very happy with this. All right. So let's dive into it and see what we're getting. We're going to start with the Disciple of Cain, which is the heal. Here the mechanic is called Animosity. Animosity goes up to 100. You generate 1 per second. You don't have to be in combat. You generate 1 per second. Tooltips are very specific. Skills gain benefits from that specific breakpoint and penalizes outside of them. You'll see what that means further down. Your first skill that you're going to start with is Fist of Cain. No cost, instant cast, no cooldown, 50 feet range. Basic attack deals 3% range attack power and 34 impact damage to target enemy, generates 22 action points and 3 animosity. So you still get the 1 per second, but with this one you also get 3. Cleave Soul, 36 action points instant cast. You are dealing 21% melee attack power, 280 piercing damage to target enemy, and you lose 10 animosity. Now, animosity, if you have anything between 0 to 20, you're dealing 60% damage. Let me check something. Yes. If you are 21 to 40, your skill deals 80% damage. 40 and to 60, 100% damage. 61 to 80 deals 120 damage. And 81 to 100, you're dealing, again, 100 damage. Yeah, if you max it out, you lose 20. You got the most damage is between 60 and 80. If you cross 80, you lose 20% damage. So that's the breakpoint, and a lot of your skills will be based on that. So you have a lot of management to do there. Restore Essence, 90 action points, insta cast, no cooldown. Restores 23% restoration power and 286 health to target ally. This is your main healing. Now, regarding animosity, 0 to 20, you do 120, restore 120% health. 21 to 40 goes down to 100. 41 to 60, you go to 80. 60 to 80, you go restore 60%. If you're above 80, it's down to 40%. I think, so basically you have to use your animosity before you heal in order to have maximum effect. Soul Ward, instant cast, 45 action points, no cooldown. Place a blessing on target ally that absorbs up to 21% of your restoration power plus 270 damage over 5 seconds. Again, it's the same kind of scaling there. I'm not going to be going through them. If you build or you want to see, you can see it. All I'm going to say is the most efficient amount of animosity to have would be between 60 and 80 for this skill. Pat's Wounds, 30 action points, instacast, dispel 1 affliction from target ally. You lose 6 animosity when you do. And in this case, animosity controls your range, most effective between 41 and 60 at 100 feet. Below 40 and above 40 is 75 feet, and above 80 and below 20 is 50. So that's interesting that you control the range. Spiteful Slam is your knockdown with 60 action points. Covenant of Punishment, no cost, instant, no cooldown. Target group mates gained an enchantment for 60 seconds. For the duration, whenever they deal direct damage, they will deal an additional 7% melee attack power and 86 indirect impact damage, generates 10 animosity. It's important that it says indirect because there are skills that get on cooldown or buffs that get deactivated if it's direct damage. Vigilance, again, is your detaunt where you receive 50% less damage, but at the same time, your outgoing damage is reduced by 90% for 7 seconds. Tactics, we have again alignment of Nagaroth. Whenever you use the basic attack, all group mates within 100 feet that have the same tactic will gain 670 critical hit rating for 4 seconds. Bathing in Blood, you are healed for 7% of the damage you deal. Harnessed Fury, your outgoing damage is increased by 15% if you are below 21 animosity. Your outgoing healing is increased by 15% if you are above 80 animosity. Kindle the Fury, the range of Fist of Cain is increased by 100%. If you play Disciple of Cain, you'll be able to equip one-handed swords and chalices. Your starting morals will be Morale 1, Return to Life. You return somebody back to life where they died with 2,000 health and no other resources. Cannot be used on corpses with Forlorn. Focused Mind, Morale 2. You get about 15 seconds. Abilities will have 50% faster cast time and you will have 100% pushback immunity. Divine Protection. Morale 3, all group mates with 100 feet gain a buff for 15 seconds. They will absorb up to 200% of your restoration power and 1,500 damage over the duration. And finally, Morale 4, Alter Fate. You remove all affliction and cripples from all group mates within 100 feet, and you resurrect all your group mates within 100 feet. That's what you're going to start with if you're going to play the healer HagGreaf. Let's see the specific skills. Tempered in Blood, passive with 4 ranks. Cleave Soul will now reduce animosity by an additional 2%. If you maxed out, it will reduce it by an additional 8. First tactic you can pick is Water Ash. Your action point cost of your skills is reduced by 33% on allies that are lower than 40% health. Then you get more stats here, such as Ballistic, Strength, and Intelligence. And a reminder, the reason why you get them here is because there is no renown points regarding skills and trees in Interbellum. They're going to be used for other stuff. This is Interbellum. It's an upcoming server. It's not live yet. This is a different server. We're just looking at the classes they released and the trees and the mechanics, how they're going to be. So we are kind of informed and ready when the server comes out for those that want to give it a try for something different. Ensign Slash, castable while moving, 75 action points, 1.5 second cast, deals 13% melee attack power, 187 impact damage, and up to 9 enemies within 30 feet in front of you. You lose 4 animosity per target hit. Your maximum damage will be above 81 animosity on this one. If you do choose it, you unlock a tactic called Flagellate. Essence Slash will now be instant cast, but will always deal 80% damage. Then you get another Morale 1, Life's End. Groupmates within 100 feet of you will gain 15% life tap for 10 seconds. I like this one. Moving, actually we need to put some more points here. Next tactic is Patch Trauma. Patch wounds will now dispel 1 cripple on the target as well. Covenant of Vitality. It's no cost, instant cast, no cooldown. Target groupmates gain an enchantment for 60 seconds for the duration. Whenever they deal direct damage, they will restore 5% restoration power and 47 health, generates 10 animosity. I will be playing a tank engineer because this server has Slayer tank, Lion tank, Marauder tank, Squig tank, Engineer tank. Also has Stealth Shaman, Stealth Dog, I don't know, ranged choppers, melee Bright Wizards. So it's crazy. So you can pick whatever you want. Everything is new. Hi tips. Stealth Shadow Warrior, yes. Shadow Warrior is actually kind of fun on stealth. So we've seen Covenant of Vitality, then more points. Soul Shielding, passive, increase the duration of Soul Ward by 2 seconds. Wounds. Cain's Withdrawal, Morale 2, dispels 3 afflictions and 1 cripple on all groupmates within 100 feet of you. Improve Fist of Cain. Fist of Cain now only generates 2 animosity. You can buff it up 2 times to take that down to 1. Rend Soul, Tactic, Cleave Soul, and Spitful Slam now have 30-foot range. Ooh, knocked down at 30 feet now. Nice. For a healer, nice defense there. Soul Infusion. Applies an enchantment to target ally. Every 2 seconds, restores 6% restoration power and 71 health. Generates 20 animosity. Animosity at this time controls the duration of your hot. And if you take Soul Infusion, you unlock two things. Number one is a tactic called Soulful Blessing. Soulful Infusion will now apply as a blessing and heal for 20% more. Nice tactic for a healer. And or Celerity Infusion with 3 ranks passive. Soul Infusion cast on you will increase your movement speed by 5% for the duration. You can buff it 3 times up to 15% if you want more speed. Black Arc of the Covenant, passive with 5 ranks. Increase the effectiveness of your Covenant spells by 10%. That's your buffs basically, which are free. Binding Covenants tactic. Covenants now apply to all group mates when cast. Nice. Whenever the duration, however, the duration is reduced by 15 seconds. So we go down from 60 to 45. Not too bad because they have no cooldown, instant cast, and no cost. So it shouldn't affect you casting them more often as long as you remember to do that. Devour Essence tactic. Restore Essence will now always heal you if you are not the primary target. Indemnity. Passive with 3 ranks again. Whenever you cast Patch Wounds or Restore Essence, up to 9 allies within 30 feet of you gain 4% restoration power and 60 health. So we cast a different spell, but passively we heal more people. I like the new healing doc. It's more interesting. Murderous Prowess. Again, the Morale 3, which is racial. You gain a 50% critical heal chance and accuracy for 20 seconds. Your renowned tactic will be whenever you use an ability that removes a buff or debuff, you gain 15 adrenaline per second for 3 seconds. Adrenaline, again, is the morale currency. Or resource, Divine Intervention, passive with 4 ranks again. Whenever you're affected by knockdown, disarm, silence, or rooted effects, you will gain 8% damage reduction for 3 seconds. I don't think I've seen that to any other healer anywhere. Hold on, I need to find some more points here. We're going to have some points. So if you're ever knocked down, disarmed, or silenced, or rooted, you can buff this 4 times and you get 32% damage reduction for 3 seconds. 32%, you have a tank next to you, it can give you another 6. That goes about to 40. Plus your armor, resistance and stuff. Yeah, you can get a 50-60% reduction. Sounds okay. Oh, okay. Okay, because I don't remember all of them. Thanks, Ramasee. So the Warrior Priest gets that one as well. Okay. Okay, melee style healers have it. Thank you. Kane's Vigor. Okay, so this one is a bit weird because there's no cost, insta-cast. Okay. Must be below 61 animosity. It's off the global cooldown. You gain a buff for 3 seconds that increases dodge chance by 60% and generates 40 animosity. If you choose it, you also get another tactic which says reduces the cooldown of Gain's Vigor by 10 seconds. So from 20, this skill goes to 10. The only thing, I don't know, I mean, I've always had this problem. Looking at the fight and looking at the resources and my HP always. And you know what I mean? Now I have to, like, if I play this class myself, which I'm really bad with it, that's why I don't play it. I have to look at the combat, my positioning, my HP, and what number I am to do things. I don't know. I find that tremendous difficulty, and I have a lot of respect for people that have the ability to do that and do it well. You know how much animosity they have, how much HP they have, their positioning in this, and press every single time the skills on the right number. Hi, Thane. Then we get a Morale 4, which is class specific for the HagGreaf, which is 1001 Dark Blessings. It's a Morale 4. For the next 10 seconds, every second its group mate within 100 feet of you will gain 1 stack of enhanced strength, ballistic skill, intelligence, initiative, agility, weapon skill, willpower, toughness, and a couple of burgers. Jesus, how many buffs. So you start getting stacks of pretty much all the stats, put it that way. And the cool ability is the one at the bottom, really, the two cool ones. Restored motivation must be below 61 animosity. It's 75 action points. Restores 15% restoration power and 187 health to all group mates within 50 feet of you, and you generate 40 animosity. If you somehow have between 0 and 20 animosity, you will heal for 120%. If you are 21 to 40, 100%. And if you're above 41, 80. Each one of these abilities get an extra glow whenever they are at the break point. That is the best for that ability. Oh, that is useful, because I was thinking probably we're going to have to make some new add-ons for this. But it's nice that you guys have thought about that, and you're gonna flashing and change the colors so people know when the abilities are ready for the most effect they can have on those. And the Zerg Busting ability for Disciple of Cain, the healer class of the HagGreaf, is Transfer Essence. It's 1 second cast, and it deals 30% spell attack power and 186 spiritual damage up to 48 enemies within 30 feet in front of you. For each target hit that did not have cover, all group mates with 150 feet gain a stack. The stack heals for 6% restoration power and 8 health each time at the end of the 3-second duration. So we get a healing Zerg Busting ability. It keeps you alive against the enemy Zerg Busting abilities, I suppose. Right, and this is the first hard specialization for the HagGreaf, called Disciple of Cain. It's a healer. I like the way the healing is going to work on this, and all the covenants, and with the DPS and everything. It looks good. It looks good. Right. The second hard specialization is DPS. It's called the Executioner, and the mechanic is again the same with animosity. Your basic attack skill is again Fist of Cain, dealing 3% range attack power. It's a 50 feet range skill. Plus 34 impact damage to target enemy, and you generate 22 action points and 3 animosity. Again, you get a Cleave Soul early on with the extra damage, 21% melee attack power at 8 feet, 280 piercing damage to target enemy, and you lose 10 animosity. Although you need action points to do it, you lose animosity. So this is a way to build and a way to remove. Execute. 100 action points instacast. You deal 44% melee attack power and 590 piercing damage, 8 feet range to target enemy. You generate 100 animosity. Holy shit. Animosity 0 to 20, you deal 120%. So it would be best to start with this one to deal the damage. But it's 100 action points. You have a total of 250. Charge. Movement skill, of course, for the next 8 seconds, your movement speed is increased by 40%. Sharpened Edge, 45 action points, instant, no cooldown. Your next ability used deals 100% additional damage. You lose 20 animosity. Spiteful Slam, yes, is your knockdown. Covenant of Punishment, 60-second enchantment to all group mates, to target group mates, sorry. For the duration, whenever you deal direct damage, they will deal an additional 7%. Melee attack power 96. Generates 10 animosity. Covenants are for target group. I don't know, can we have multiple... can we have this Covenant of Punishment cast to every single group mate? Like go 1, 1, 1, 1. Vigilance, your detaunt. Your damage, your incoming damage is reduced by 50%. Your outgoing damage is reduced by 90. I'll say again, you can detaunt target A and nuke target B. That's the whole point of having it work this way. So we can have we can cast this to everybody 1, 1, 1. Okay. Alignment of Nagaroth and Bathing Blood is racial. All the elves, all the dark elves, the Druchii has this. Harnessed Fury, your outgoing damage is increased by 15% if you are below 21 animosity. Your outgoing healing is increased by 15 if you are above 80 animosity. And Kindle the Fury, the range on Fist of Cain is increased by 100%. This DPS class equips 200 swords. The healer was, as before, 100 swords and chalices. Okay. You're going to be starting with 4 morale. Morale 1 is Sever Nerve, which you deal 50% of melee attack power and 400 piercing damage to target. Broad Swings, Morale 2, you gain a buff for 10 seconds. Your single target abilities will hit 2 additional enemies within 20 feet in front of you. Force of Will, Morale 3, all group mates within 100 feet gain a buff for 10 seconds. Action point costs are used by 75. And Frenzied Slaughter, Morale 4, all group mates within 100 feet gain a buff for 15 seconds and 40 which gives you plus 40% outgoing damage and 50% reduced cooldowns for the duration. And we'll pick some random skills here for now. Our first skill, which is always passive with 3 ranks, is Avatar of Terror. Serpent Edge now loses 25 animosity, damn it. And if you buff it all the way up, that is 35 animosity. First tactic you can pick is increase your mass, so you are harder to control with CC. Improve Fist of Cain. Fist of Cain now generates 2 animosity, only 1 animosity. More statistical buffs, intelligence, ballistics. Essence Lash, castable while moving, 1.5 second cast time. You deal 30% melee attack power and 184 impact damage to up to 9 enemies within 30 feet in front of you. You lose 4 animosity per target hit. Your ultimate range is between 81 and 100 for maximum damage, which is 120. At the same line, you can also pick Life's End, Morale 1. Group mates with 100 feet of you will gain 15% life tap for 10 seconds. Now, because we've chosen Essence Lash, we also unlock 2 new tactics. You can only get them if you pick Essence Lash. The first one is Flagellate. Essence Lash will now be instant cast, but will always deal 80% damage. And the other one is Motivation through Fear. Essence Lash and Mass Execute now hit up to 24 enemies. This one you definitely want to take. So if you get in a setup for larger groups, or you're playing solo and then you join a keep or something, you can switch your tactics in combat and then you switch to AoE mode, which is brilliant to be able to change tactics in combat. Cain's Imbuement is another tactic you can pick. First, Fist of Cain no longer deals direct damage. Instead, it applies a 6-second alignment to target, which stacks 5 times. For the duration, the target takes 2% range attack power and 29 eco damage every 3 seconds. So basically, you just convert from direct into dots. Curse of Cain, 55 action points, insta cast, 50 feet range, no cooldown. Applies an alignment to target enemy. At the end of the duration, deal 31% range attack power and 409 impact damage to them. You lose 15 animosity. It feels like, what was that Sork spell? What was the name of the Sork spell? Word of Pain. Kind of feels like a Word of Pain for the Doctor, since it deals the damage at the end. And now I screwed my points here. Okay, so we're here, Curse of Cain. And you lose 15 animosity, as I said. If you want maximum duration for the dot, you gotta be above 81 animosity. If we take that one, it unlocks Curse of Cain 2 and 3, which is a passive. Curse of Cain now always has a 5-second duration. Okay, always has a 5-second duration, so it doesn't matter. So you remove the whole animosity check if you want to with this. It's not a tactic, but it is 1 point out of the 31 you have. And trust me, you won't have enough to make the build. Improve Vigilance. This is passive with 3 ranks. So when you do your detaunt and you reduce your outgoing damage by 90%, if you buff this up all the way to 3, you make the outgoing damage being reduced down to 45%, but you're still useless. So I don't know how many people want to pick that one. That's my opinion, right? I haven't played the game yet. This is all theory. Cain's Withdrawal, Morale 2, dispels 3 afflictions and 1 cripple on all group mates within 100 feet of you. Gotta put some points though, so I can unlock this. Rend Soul tactic, Cleave Soul and Speedful Slam now have 30-foot range. Speedful is your knockdown, and Soul Cleave is basically just a DPS ability that allows you to lose animosity. Extra Crit, 5 ranks, increase your chance to critically hit by 10% on maximum level. Mass execute. Action point skill, 100 action points instacast. You're dealing 12% melee attack power and 170 piercing damage up to 9 enemies within 30 feet of you. You generate 100 animosity. If you want to deal maximum damage with mass execute, you have to use it between 0 and 20 animosity. If you choose to have this skill, you also unlock Mass Graves, which is a passive, with 3 ranks, and Mass Execute deals 15% additional damage if you max it out. Next line of skills, we have another tactic, Binding Covenants. Covenants now apply to all group mates when cast. However, the duration reduced by 15 seconds. The original duration is 60. It goes down to 45, but you do it once, it goes to everybody. You don't have to click every group individually and go click 1 cast, click 2 cast, click 3 cast, helps you out. But you have to, for that convenience, you sacrifice 1 tactic. It's your choice always. Black Arc of the Covenant, passive with 3 ranks, increase the effectiveness of your Covenant spells by maximum 30%. Call the Unworthy. Career tactic, you deal 15% more damage to enemies under 40% health. The racial morale 3, you gain 50% critical hit chance and accuracy for 20 seconds. Verge of Victory is your renowned tactic, so whenever you land in killing blow, you gain 20 adrenaline per second for 8 seconds. Whenever a group mate within 100 feet lands a killing blow, you will gain 5 adrenaline per second for 8 seconds. Strength through Spite. 25 action points instacast. Gain 1 stack of an enhanced stat based on animosity. You lose 10 animosity when you use the skill. So 0 to 20 is weapon skill, 21 to 40 is penetration, 41 to 60 is potency, 61 to 80 is penetration, and again 81 to 100 is weapon skill. Don't know the numbers, but you gain something on those specific ones. Ceremonial weapons. It's a passive with 4 ranks, gain 1 stack every second with a maximum of 10 stacks. All stacks are dispelled whenever you deal direct damage. Each stack runs 15 melee attack power. Okay, so it looks like for this DPS, the Executioner, we're gonna have one of the choices we're gonna have to do is whether we're gonna go more on dots, indirect damage, or if we wanna go more on direct damage, and that's gonna shift with the tactics, I think. Which one is better? I don't know. Execute. Next tactic is Grief Bringer. Execute and Mass Execute because 25 less action points. 1001 Dark Blessing, which is the Morale 4, the same one the healer has, that for the next 10 seconds. Every second, its group mate with 100 feet of you will gain 1 stack of Enhanced Strength, Ballistic, Intelligence, Initiative, Agility, Weapon Skill, Willpower, and Toughness. You mean you could go direct damage or indirect damage? And the last 2 skills, the DPS Executioner gets Forged to Kill, which is passive, gain 150 maximum action points. Sharpen Edge now has a 5-second cooldown. Execute will now only generate 50 animosity and has no cooldown. Ramasee, tell me something. It says here, if you pick this passive, Execute will now only generate 50 animosity, has no cooldown. Sharpen Edge now has a 5-second cooldown. If I pick this Forge to Kill passive, am I sacrificing 100 action points for the cooldown and animosity reduction? You gain 150 more max. Okay. So from 250 we go to 400. Okay. Because it says you gain 150 maximum action points. I suppose the plus might make it more clear. Because if I had trouble, understanding it, I'm sure other people might do when they read it. That's what I'm saying, just to help people out. And our Zerg Basking ability again is one that the Dark Elves have, the Druchii, which is Whirlwind. 3-second channel, you deal 6% melee attack power and 20 piercing damage up to 96 enemies within 30 feet of you every 0.5 seconds. Each enemy hit will give you a stack of a buff that gives 10% outgoing damage up to 100 stacks. Woo! It's a nice DPS, and as Ramasee said here on the chat, if you haven't been reading, the fact that we have indirect damage and you can use the tactics right and you can build your dots, and then you can prepare the execute window with double execute for burst damage. So this DPS is more likely I dot and build Animosity and then boom, massive damage, and then again, that's a cycle kind of thing. So let's go and see the third hard specialization of the HagGreaf, previously known as the Dock. What I haven't seen yet, Ramasee, I'm going to go to the last specialization here, but I was under the impression... okay, I found it. Don't worry, I found it. Nothing. Don't worry, I found what I was looking for. So the third hard specialization for the HagGreaf is called the Khanate Assassin. Again, the mechanism is exactly the same with Animosity as we described before. You still start with Fist of Cain, Cleave Soul, Execute, and here's the surprise, Stalk. This is the stealth. So you can have a DPS stealth dock. Castable while moving is considered a movement skill. You become invisible to enemies up to 5 minutes. Don't worry, it's not that long. Your action points per second is set to -5, and you will come out of Stalk if you reach 0 action points. It's not even close to a minute or so. So don't worry where it says 5 minutes there. It scared me the first time as well. Curse of Cain applies an alignment to target enemy. At the end of the duration, you deal 31% range attack power and 409 impact damage to them. You lose 15 Animosity. For maximum duration, which is the 10 seconds, you gotta be above 81. Choking Shadows is... What? Yeah. Ramasee, I think we have a problem here. You might want to check the tooltip here, because it says Choking Shadows, Lore of Shadow. Yeah, things happen. Dude, I'm just doing some proofreading along the way, man, for, you know, for future players. It's a search skill with a sword. Okay. Because it did look familiar as a name, but when I saw Lord of Shadow, I was like, should that be here? Anyways, you can, if you need to fix it, you fix it. I just saw it. I've mentioned it. So this, you apply silence. It's 100 feet range silence. Marked for death. It's off the global cooldown. Applies marked to the target. Marked reduces the target damage reduction by 15% for 10 seconds. Basically, it increases the damage people take. It can be augmented in other ways beyond Winds of Magic. Ah, okay. All right, so it stays there. Okay, so no problem. I suppose like the Archmage can put the paddle, he can run over it, kind of situation, and augment the spell without doing it himself or herself. So, okay, I get what you mean. So it's mark. So this looks like this DPS plays with mark mechanic as well as Animosity. And Vigilance, your deton, you receive 50% less damage, your outgoing damage reduced by 90. Tactics are exactly the same because they're kind of racial here. 2 racials and 2 class. Because these are hard specializations of the HagGreaf, so they're the same. However, the Khanate Assassin equips single one-handed daggers. So the healer is sword and chalice. The first DPS, the executioner, is 2-handed swords. And the third specialization, which is also DPS, equips a single one-handed dagger. The tactics you're going to be starting with in the Khanate Assassin specialization is disengage. As morale 1, you knock yourself back away from the target enemy. Broad swings. Morale 2, you gain a buff for 10 seconds. Your single target abilities will target 2 additional enemies within 20 feet. Force of will, group mates with 100 feet gain a buff for 10 seconds. Action point costs are reduced by 75% for the duration. And Frenzy Slaughter, where you get a 15-second buff for all group mates, which gives you 40% outgoing damage and 50% reduced cooldowns for the duration. Let's see. Our first skill is called No Quarters. It's a passive with 3 ranks. You deal 2% increased damage against targets that are marked. And it's definitely going to be playing with a mark mechanic here. You can also pick Fleet-footed. Your base movement speed is increased by 15%. Your mass is decreased by 1. Stalk, of course, you're going to pick this up and max it out. While in Stalk, your movement speed is increased by 15%, and the action point cost of Execute is reduced by 100%. So you can be in Stealth, you can move faster, and your Execute skill costs are reduced by 100%. You can also pick Essence Lash, which is castable while you're moving for 13% melee attack power and 184 impact damage up to 9 enemies. Within 30 feet in front of you, you lose 4 animosity. If you want maximum damage, you gotta be above 81 animosity. You also again unlock 2 tactics, I suppose the same one as the Executioner. Flagellate, where Essence Lash will now be instant cast, but will always do 80% damage. And Motivation through Fear, Essence Lash and Mass Execute now hit up to 24 enemies to make it AoE. Life Stand, Morale 1, group mates within 100 feet of you will gain 15% life tap for 10 seconds if you want to help your group mates. But I suppose group mate, you're your own group mate as well, so this Morale 1 will apply to you too. Kane's Imbuement. Fist of Kane no longer deals direct damage, instead applies a 6-second alignment to target. Stacks 5 times for the duration. Target takes 2% range attack power and 21 in-core damage every 3 seconds. This is a tactic that can change our direct damage into indirect damage. Etheric Shock. Instacast 65 action points. Applies staggered to the target. Stagger prevents all control of character for 9 seconds unless attacked. So we'll take the stagger, of course. More stats. Ambush passive. You deal 3% more damage against enemies above 75% health. If you max it, you can go all the way up to 9% more damage against enemies above 75. Wounds here. Kane's Withdrawal is a Morale 2. Dispel 3 afflictions and 1 cripple on all group mates within 100 feet. We've seen these 2 tactics as part of Essence Slash. Unfair Advantage, career tactic. Whenever you hit an enemy you are flanking, you will gain a buff for 2 seconds. For the duration, you will gain outgoing damage equal to 100% of your accuracy. I love that one. Because flanking in this version of the game, you don't have a specific flanking skill that says you can use this one where you're behind or the side of the target. Every single skill, you can use any skill you want, as long as you are 180 behind the target, then it's called sides and behind basically. Is flanking, and you can use any skill and you still get the buff. So I think it's a better mechanic than having to use a specific skill when you're flanking and then takes you out of your entire rotation. Curse of Kane 2 and 3. Curse of Kane now always has a 5-second duration. Don't know. Improve vigilance, reduce the amount of damage you lose when you detaunt. So from minus 90% you go to minus 45. Like I said before, I don't like it. Mass Execute, 100 action points, deals 12% melee attack power, 170 damage to up to 9 enemies within 30 feet of you. You generate 100 animosity. For maximum damage, you gotta be between 0 and 20. And we can also unlock Mass Graves again. Mass Execute deals 5% additional damage. So if we max it, it goes all the way up to 15. The behind skill just get embed. What's embed? Also, assassins have 5 ranks of improved vigilance. Oh. So it goes down by 15%. Is this the only class? Oh, nerf buttons. I don't know, since you mentioned, will nerf buttons be working on Interbellum server when it comes live? Because I think that is something people will be asking me. fine weakness. While you are in Stalk, you gain a blessing which lasts for 10 seconds. After you leave Stalk, for the duration, you gain 25% critical chance. Nice tactic. Black-Hearted Rogue, 3 ranks. Stalk now reduces animosity. Stalk now reduces 1 animosity every second. So you can take that all the way down to 6. That's kind of important though, because like this skill here, Mass Execute, you need to be between 0 and 20. So it could be good. Okay, so it's gonna stay as a sequencer and not as a scripting tool. Okay, I like that. I don't think it's necessary to have the scripts, as long as you can put a lot of the dots you have, so you don't just go, you count cooldowns. I'm cool with that. Where were we? Murderous Prowess, of course, again, the morale 3, which is racial. For the Druchii, morale 3, you gain 50% critical hit chance and accuracy for 20 seconds. Your renowned tactic is going to be Words of Victory. Whenever you land a killing blow, you gain 20 adrenaline per second for 8 seconds. Whenever a group mate in 100 feet lands a killing blow, you gain 5 adrenaline per second for 8 seconds. Ceremonial Weapons, passive of 4 ranks, gain 1 stack every second with a maximum of 10 stacks. All stacks are dispelled whenever you deal direct damage. Each stack runs 15 melee attack power. Do I have any more points? No? Damn it. So we can get all the way up to 150 melee attack power. So you can go ... and then boom. I think that's the whole point here. Plus the 15% on mark. So you can go ... mark to gain the extra 15% damage, and then go with direct damage with the 150 there on top of that. Or something along those lines. Kane's Vigor. Must be below 61 animosity. It's off the global cooldown. It has no cost, is instant, but it does come with a 20-second cooldown. You gain a buff for 3 seconds that increased dodge chance for 60%, generates 40 animosity. Reduce cooldown. Nah, I don't like those. The other tactic is reduce cooldown of Kane's Vigor by 10 seconds. So you can have this. If you are below 61 animosity, every 10 seconds you can get 3 seconds of 6% dodge, but I don't know. Purge the Weak, morale 4. This is a little bit different from the other 2 hard specializations. Morale 4 deals 6,000 true damage to target enemy and applies Forlord. What is the base HP of a character? Is it 6K or 4K? I don't remember what we start with. Now, this is a good morale for 6,000 true damage. And also apply Forlorn, which means if they die, they cannot be resurrected unless they release base HP 6,000 plus wounds times 4. Okay. It's a lot of true damage there, man. 6K true damage. I know it's morale 4, but wow. Anyways, it is what it is. We'll deal with it when the time comes. Bound by Contract, passive with 1 rank. You have 100% chance whenever you get a killing blow to reset the cooldown on Stalk. In addition, Stalk will set your regen to -3 and you gain 450 HP for while in Stalk. Yeah, I know it's an A4. I like this one as well. So if you get a killing blow, this is passive, 100% chance to reset Stalk. So you can go into stealth again quickly. In addition, you will set your regen from -5 to -3, so you can stay longer in stealth, but you got to get a kill first. And you also gain 450 regeneration every 4 seconds while you are in Stalk until you come out. That sounds nice to have. And a new Zerg busting ability, Shroud of Darkness, at least for this class. Up to 10 enemies within 30 feet of you gain a debuff for 1 second. At the end of the duration, they apply 1 stack of the debuff. Up to 96 enemies within 30 feet of them. Enemies lose 5% damage reduction per stack. So they take 5% more damage per stack. And that spreads like wildfire from one person to the other at the end of the 1 second. I like those cascading ones. You have to place them very well and then they're effective. If you fuck up, and that's it.